Hey guys, it's Phil again from Earth Nails and Tails, and today we're going to be doing episode 3 of the grow bag series where we're going to be planting some lettuce heads as well as some garden mix. So let's just get started. Okay guys, so first we have the Kellogg's organic soil. So this bag right here in the front is the new bag that I prepped, which we're going to be planting lettuce heads in. Specifically, we have some towering lettuce, so that should be pretty cool coming out of the grow bag. You know, it's going to have 4 to 6 towers of leaves that you'll be able to cut off and harvest, so it'll be something pretty in the garden. We have this other bag here, which is the carrots that we planted a couple weeks ago, and as you can see, I'll zoom in here, they are starting to sprout, which is good. We're going to let them get a little bit taller before we do any maintenance with those, so in the next episode I'll probably be doing something along the lines of thinning and pruning just to give the carrots the proper spacing. And then lastly, we have the first bag that we started about a month ago. And to be completely honest, I am not very happy with how these bags are performing. So this is the Kellogg bag. The Miracle Grow one, unfortunately, looks very similar. The beets are doing a little bit better, but we planted beets and kale in this bag. And just to show you a comparison, these right here are the kale. And now let's go over to my garden beds real quick, which I started at pretty much the same time. And this is how my kale plants are looking in my garden beds. So you should see how big they should be. And so what I think I'm going to be doing is planting some more kale and some more beets just to see if we can get a little bit of growth out of these. What I'm thinking what happened is that these bags were a little bit warmer in temperature than my garden beds because the garden bags are just a lot larger. It takes a lot more heat to heat them up. And these grow bags are relatively small. So I think that the soil was just too warm for them. They got a little scorched. So now that the temperatures are finally cooling down, I'm going to plant them again, and then hopefully we get some better growth out of those. So let's move on to the Miracle Grow soil. So here's our Miracle Grow. Again, I prepared this bag just now for the lettuce heads that we're going to be planting. And then here we go with the carrots. So again, the carrots seem to be growing really well in both of the bags, so that makes me happy. At least we're getting something, right? And then here is the kale and beets that we planted. So these beet plants are a little bit larger, so I'll probably let these go, but I am probably going to go back and just fill around the edges. And then I'm also going to be planting some new kale plants because again, they're just very, very tiny. So since I showed you guys how the beets are growing in the grow bags, I just wanted to show you, just like I showed you with the kale, how much different. So these are my beet plants that I planted in my garden the exact same time that I planted the beet plants in the grow bags. So I know it doesn't have anything to do with the timing of the seasons. So I really do think that there is just some sort of microclimate going on inside those grow bags, which is really affecting the growth of those plants. So now that I showed you guys a quick overview of how the other bags are growing, we're going to be planting some lettuce heads in their own bags. So we're going to be planting 4 lettuce heads per bag, and then we're going to be interplanting some leaf lettuce, some salad mix lettuce with the carrots just to fill out the rest of those grow bags. So let's do that. Alright, so first, as I said, we're going to be planting the lettuce green towers. So these are going to be nice because they're going to grow, you know, about a foot, maybe a foot and a half tall, and they're going to have 4 to 6 tiers of lettuces. So it's going to start out it's going to look almost like a Christmas tree, which is pretty cool. So it's going to be thicker at the bottom and then slowly like skinny out to a cone at the top. So we're going to put 4 plants in this bed here. So lettuce plants, what I have found is they like to be about 8 inches apart. So I'll usually put them a row, like make a row and then put them about 8 inches apart in each row, and then put the rows about a foot apart. And that gives them enough coverage where they're protecting each other because they do like cooler weather and cooler climates. So putting them closer together actually makes like their own microclimate. So now that the temperatures are finally starting to cool down, I'm comfortable with putting lettuces in these bags because, as I said earlier with the kale and the beets, I think that this bag has its own microclimate and it's retaining much more heat than the beds are. So now that it's starting to finally cool down, I'm ready to plant these lettuce plants. So I'm going to plant 4 of them in this bag. So I'm just going to make, lettuce plants don't like to be very deep, or their seeds don't like to be deep because they germinate pretty quickly and they need a lot of sun right off the bat. So what I usually do for my lettuce plants is just rub my hands around it and notice that I'm getting the soil built up around the edges of this bag. That's gonna be the soil that I'm gonna use to backfill this. So I'm just getting my soil around the edges And then I'm going to take my seeds and I'm just going to put them in my hand first. And then I'm going to put, you know, like 4 or 5 in a spot. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that'll be my 4 plants. And what I'll do is once these germinate, and once after they get about an inch or 2 tall, I'll come back and I'll thin these like I've done in my previous videos, and we'll keep the strongest plant. So lettuces only like to be about a 1/4 inch deep. So now what I do is I just take the soil that I just did and I just push it back over the seeds, and then I lightly go over that with my hand, and that's all we do for lettuce. Now once these germinate and the plant is about an inch tall, we're going to want to come back and put mulch over this just to retain the moisture in the soil, just like I've done previously. But because the lettuces like such a shallow depth, you don't want to put mulch on them right away. Let them germinate and then put the mulch on. So we're going to be doing a very similar process for the salad mixes that we're going to be interplanting with the carrots. So let's do that now. Alright, so next we're going to be doing a salad bowl mix. And again, we're going to be interplanting those with the carrots. So in order to not aggravate the carrots or get them, you know, potentially uproot them because they're not very tall yet, they're still establishing as seedlings, what we're going to do is just push this straw out of the way in the middle here. And the nice thing about salad bowl lettuce or like a loose leaf lettuce is that you don't have to be very particular or accurate with the spacing of the plants. So we're just going to loosen up the soil here, and very similarly to what I did with the heads of lettuce, the tower lettuce, we're just going to kind of push that soil to the side here, make that center up nice and open, and then what we're going to just put these in our hand again, and then we're just going to take these and kind of just sprinkle them in the center here, and then when we fill the soil back in, we're just going to move that soil around, and that'll kind of evenly space the seeds in this bag here. So now once that's done, again, we don't want to really cover these because they need a lot of soil, so I'm going to leave the straw out to the side, and then after they germinate and they're about 1 to 2 inches tall is when I'll fill that mulch back in. So now that we're done planting these, we're going to make sure we give them really good water, because again, that's going to help the seeds sink into the soil and help to establish a little bit better. Alright guys, that's going to be pretty much it for this episode. So the lettuce that I just planted was in the Kellogg brand soil. I'm going to be doing the exact same thing in the Miracle Grow brand soil, and then we'll check back in a couple weeks and see how those are performing. And just like I said earlier, I'm going to be replanting the kale and the beets, and hopefully these cooler temperatures are really going to help them thrive. So I'm also going to give you guys an update on those in the next episode. And if you guys are planting any vegetables this fall, make sure you comment down below. And then if you can also follow me on Instagram, send me a direct message on what vegetables you're growing and how you're doing, and then I'll be happy to feature you on my Instagram page. So I hope you guys are getting out there this season and planting some vegetables for yourselves. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video or got something out of it. Again, my name's Phil, this is Earth, Nails, and Tails, and I hope you guys like, subscribe, and share. See you next time.